So Molly has just finished my Heal from Within program, and I'm talking to her about her experience. And before we start, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself, Molly?
Okay, I'm Molly. I'm 41 years old, and I have 2 kids and a husband. And we just moved from San Diego, from the East Coast to San Diego. And I'm a yoga teacher. I'm an elementary school teacher. Just recently getting back into elementary school teaching after a good 10 years of being home with the kids. So when I had my son, I had a newborn baby and my husband was working and I couldn't leave the house. And so I had to find something that would help ground me and help with my anxiety. And I just happened into these podcasts from Audio Dharma, and I would start like 5 minutes. I remember sitting for my first session. It was like, I made it 5 minutes and like my back hurt and it wasn't good. But I progressed along and I stayed with it while I had kids, because I need something. I realized that it was the gym that was like keeping me sane, and it was running and it was working out. And when I lost that, I kind of didn't know what to do. But without a real meditation community and without, I kind of felt like things just kind of ran its course. And like I needed something else, something a little bit different, something, I don't know, something a little, I needed something more, something else other than sitting in stillness. And that's when my friend started telling me about you and how she found you in your courses.
When you decided to join me, what led you? Like, what were some of the goals, or what were some of the things that you were looking to achieve in working with me and my program?
I felt like I was very short with my kids and a little yelly with my kids. And I knew that relationship had to change. They're getting older. They were getting friends and wanting more independence. And it was hard for me to give them that independence and let go of that. So I knew something there had to change. And also like my relationship with my husband, my relationship with like my other friends and family members. It seemed like something needed to change, something needed to shift. And I know when I was first hearing mostly about your program and it was all about stress, and I think I've told this to you, I was like, I don't think I have stress. But then, as we talked, I'm like, well, yeah, I think a lot of what I'm feeling probably is stress, even though it wasn't like in my face, like I'm like telling people I'm so stressed, I have a long list of things. Like it was like physical for me in my jaw and in my shoulders. And I'm like, yeah, I guess that is stress when you think about it. So
that's interesting. So a lot of people feel the same way, right? They don't come in recognizing their stress. And as we were talking, you said, well, yeah, I guess my jaw's hurt, I do clench, I guess it is stress. And for sure, that happens to everybody, right? It's like me, I was like, oh, I'm fine, and then I lost my sleep. Well, gee, I wonder why I lost my sleep, right, after 40 years. So I totally understand that. On that note, how have you been feeling physically?
oh my gosh, so good. I used to have like my whole like right arm, like my shoulder, and it was even growing from my shoulder. It was like down like my whole arm. It would be so painful. I would have my husband rub it. I would like stretch it out constantly. And I really haven't, it would keep me up at night, and it's really not there. And when it is there, I recognize it and I'm like, oh, it's a little twingy. It's a little twingy. What's happening? And then I like go into like my qigong and I realize that like I'm losing a connection somewhere, like something's out of balance. And it's been so much better. Yeah, for sure.
That's so cool. So now you're able to allow the the signs and the tension in your body speak to you and tell you that there's something else that's out of balance in your life. And that's a huge lesson, Molly. I'm so glad you brought that up, because that's right. It's big that we don't recognize that so much of our thoughts and our stress and patterns actually do show up on our body, and that it's communicating with us. And the fact that you can now understand that communication is huge.
Well, and it was so cool because I think it came up in our talks after the 101 talks, was when you brought up the fact that all of a sudden, like, people just become sick. Like, all of a sudden they're like, something's terribly wrong with them and they're like in the hospital. And I really saw that from this practice, giving me the ability to like actually see myself and like what's going on in my body and in my life, to like get those signs. Because I swear, if like it would have continued on, like I would have started to go to like physical therapy and like trying to seek out like fixes for this pain that's here, without understanding that it was underlying and not truly about my muscles and my joints. And that really stuck with me, about how if you don't pay attention to yourself in like your life, how it can get so bad so fast where you can't easily come back around and get rid of it.
I'll tell you, whenever I speak and I hear people's progress, because of this energy work that I teach, I do get teary-eyed, because it's something, as an acupuncturist, I've been doing for 20 years, where I've been treating people's pain. And I realized that I was doing a disservice, because I was just treating their pain. And then for that hour or 2 hours, even a day, they would feel good. But for the rest of the week, this other 6 days and 22 hours, they start to regress back. And I realized that I didn't have the tools at that time in that hour session to be able to help them make that connection that you just made, right? The understanding that our body is a reflection of everything that's going on inside of us, our mind and our heart and our spirit. And that knowing that connection can actually give you the pause and say, oh, this is trying to tell me something. What can I change in order to, get this to free up again? So huge connection. Thank you so much for that. I really, that's wonderful. So what would you say overall in terms of relationship, your peace and all that, your stress? What would you say overall just are the changes that you've experienced?
Well, I mean, there's obviously like the physical stuff that we talked about, but I think I am just so much happier. And I know this came up before, but like, I did not realize I wasn't like happy, and literally nothing's changed. My family is the same. My living situation's the same. My job situation's the same. Like, nothing has really changed, other than just that feeling inside of me that's like, I'm good. Like, I love, like, I take a moment with my kids to read, and I actually like appreciate that time with them. And I appreciate that time with my husband more. And even like in my job, in my work, like I'm like happy where I am and in this place and like here. And I think that's the biggest thing. And I wasn't even searching for happiness. I didn't come to you. It was like, Sue, I'm so sad. I just want to be happy. But I think, and I can't remember what week it was that talked about happiness, but that was like the big shift for me. And so that honestly is the biggest. And I just think my relationship with my kids has there's bumps, there's stuff that happens still.
Of course.
But I feel like I'm helping them be their own person, but yet I just think it's a better relationship. I won't like lose them, like, in a way. I won't be over controlling where I think I was. And
that's really awesome. So when you say I wasn't searching for happiness, when somebody starts my program, the very first thing I say is, I am really not going to teach you how to find peace and how to be happy and how to lose stress. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to help you balance your energy so that you can allow the energy to balance freely, so that you can release the conflict and tension in your body, in your mind and emotions, because that's different for everybody. So I can't tell you, I'm going to teach you to do this and then teach somebody else to do that, because everybody has a different conflict that causes them to be unhappy, whether it's they're too controlling or their relationship, right? So what I do is I really do it on an energetic level. All I'm teaching you is, well, how do you clear, right, these energetic blockages? And when you live in that flow, what is the byproduct of living free in flow and connected to yourself? The byproduct is that you will be happier. You will enjoy more peace. You'll have things flowing through you. And that's what you're describing. Right? Yeah, I didn't even know I was really stressed. I didn't know that I wanted to be happy. All you knew was there was something that just wasn't right. Right?
And is that too, because that word clear, like I feel like I can see clearer, and like everything's the same, but it looks a little different. Like it looks a little clearer, and that's it, isn't it? That energy
it is
flowing.
Right. So where do you think, before you began, where do you think now that energy was blocked? Where do you feel it was stuck?
Ooh. I don't know. I think it was pretty stuck a lot of places.
A lot of places, right? But
yeah,
but a lot of it up in here.
Right?
That's actually where most of it is today. You know, that's for another conversation. But most of our energy is stuck up in the head because of what we do in society and what society and our culture continually gets us to work on, which is all up in here, right? And before I let you go, I have one question. So you've done a lot of meditation, you've done a lot of self-help, and what would you say is the difference between what I've taught you here with this program and the stuff that you've done, and how maybe it's complemented? Or
I don't know. It's interesting. I guess in a way it is self-help, but I think it is, yeah, I mean, it is self-help. So I just liked it because, like you said, you're teaching us all the same things, but we're all interpreting it differently in our bodies and in our daily lives. And so that's how I think it's so much more like powerful and effective, because it's not like telling us to specifically do this one thing, like do this one thing and then you're going to be great, just stick with it. You know, it's like, here are some options, here are some ways, like, and it obviously made me feel amazing enough to like want to continue and diving deeper into it. But so you're not like motivated by outside things. You're like, oh, my pain is gone, I'm going to keep doing this, you know, like, oh, I'm better in my relationships with those around me, I gotta keep this up. Like, it's not an outside motivating force, you know, that I think some can be. But it is amazing in the way that like you learn about yourself and how it keeps changing as you go through the program too, you know?
Yes, you keep evolving.
Yeah.
And the one thing you said, which was so incredible, and it's what I really have taught, and I think the fact that you've learned this is why you've had such success. You said, I teach the same thing, and then each of us interprets it differently in our body. You said in your body, you didn't say in your mind. You did. I know. And that's it. It's in your body. And all these other techniques, and that's actually why it's so easy, because it is in your body. You're not thinking about it, because I've really am trying to get it down into that subconscious level. And that's why it's so easy. And when people say, well, you know what, she taught me this, And I thought about it, and I recognized, I went, oh no, they're not there yet. They still think that I'm really talking to here, but I'm really not. I'm talking to that inside, that inner voice, that untangible, place. So
Yeah.
did it. Yay.
Did they?
You did it. And like you said, it will evolve, and you will continue to evolve with this journey as long as you allow, the chi to come in. So happy for you. And I'm so grateful that
amazing.
you were in my group. I really, very, very thankful for that.
Oh, I'm so grateful for you.